Of course. My corner, going into the championship rounds, they just kept yelling at me, "You got to close the show. You got to win the championship rounds, because they're not gonna give it to you. You got to win the championship rounds." Because it was one round where I dominated in the scorecards. They gave it to Canelo, and that just changed the whole mentality of the fight. They was just like, all right, you got to go out there and win these rounds. You got to go out.
His words showed a level of certainty only a veteran eye provides. He wasn't simply predicting Crawford's win. He was warning that judges could turn it into a nightmare. Like in past fights, the fear of robbery loomed, forcing Crawford to leave nothing to chance. It was either dominance or disaster, and Atlas saw it from day one. That's why each round carried the weight of history. In the end, Crawford's performance proved Atlas correct and silenced every doubt. As the fight concluded, Atlas broke it down with blunt honesty. He admitted what everyone watching already knew: Crawford's control left almost nothing for Canelo to claim.
But listen, so we was worried they'd just give it to Canelo just for nothing. Just give it to him. So we had to. Bud came straight out there. Did you see how he went out there and went straight to him? Set the tone?
Right away.
Oh, God.
He never chased him. He never chased him around the ring.
No, Crawford never ran.
No, Canelo never chased.
This perspective gave another layer to the story. Canelo may have been disciplined, but discipline without the right plan was never enough. It showed how much was riding on politics, money, and reputation, things outside the ropes. Yet, even with all that weight behind Canelo, Crawford tore the script apart. Teddy Atlas didn't hold back when speaking on Crawford versus Canelo. From the moment the fight was signed, he already knew how dangerous the matchup would be.
He's fought the same way the last 4 or 5 fights, enough just to get the win, or maybe the judges to give him the win. Throws one punch at a time, so, one punch at a time, looks for just that one part. He opens up, that hook he was throwing over and over, reaching in with that hook, keeping his chin up, his right hand down. There's a lot of things that you can't do over and over if you have a good game plan, if you have somebody giving you the right instructions. You can't do it over and over for 4 fights. There's got to be.
The night wasn't only about Crawford defeating Canelo. It was also survival against the judges. In a shocking statement, Crawford revealed that even while dominating, the scorecards told a story that nearly robbed him. His coach, Bernie, felt it too. From the opening bell, something seemed off. He said, "First round they say everybody was worried, like, 'cause you see they're trying to steal it from us, right? With the 115 to 113, right? They're trying to steal it." Bernie's words carried the tension of a corner sensing danger beyond the ring. They weren't only battling Canelo, but also the numbers flashing on the judges' cards. The fight became about more than punches. It was about protecting history from being taken. Every round turned into a test of will, not only for Crawford, but also for his corner. At that moment, the fear of robbery felt as real as the fight itself. Yet Bernie didn't stop there. He revealed just how deeply worried the corner was about losing control of the fight.
So, he's very talented. He's a very disciplined fighter also. He's healthy. And, a lot of people were saying, oh, well, he hasn't fought, or he didn't look too good against Madrimov at 154. How can he look good? He's a talented fighter, and that challenge for him pushed him even harder to train harder and to be better. That challenge, went up against Canelo, moving up 2 divisions, hearing that people are saying, oh, he didn't look too good against Madrimov, so how could he look good at 68? Well, that motivated more, man. He trained hard. He did what he had to.
Those words showed the raw truth of a corner battling more than just an opponent. They knew one bad scorecard could erase everything Crawford was fighting for. That fear became fire, fueling Bud to step forward and take command of the ring. Every second proved he wasn't leaving his fate to the judges. In that storm of doubt and pressure, Crawford delivered his defining statement. Even respected trainer Robert Garcia weighed in, pointing to flaws Canelo carried into the fight. His breakdown hinted at something deeper, that without the judges, Canelo's style alone wasn't enough to secure victory.
they've made a lot of money together, and that's what they're all about, the business. You know, I don't know if I don't think they took the fight lightly, because they couldn't have, but because Canelo, from what I hear, is very disciplined, trains very hard. But I think when it came to the game plan or the instructions, could have been a little bit better.
Garcia's words painted a clear picture. Canelo wasn't controlling the fight. He relied on the same habits, banking on scorecards to cover gaps. It seemed as if the system was built to protect him round after round, but Crawford's sharp adjustments ripped apart that safety net and left no doubt against both the man in front and the judges behind. Bud proved the truth couldn't be stolen. Garcia also admitted Crawford's discipline and determination stood out. He explained how the doubts surrounding him only pushed Crawford to train harder and rise beyond expectations.
You know, I've been on the wrong side, but it's nice to be on the right side. But I felt like I was on the right side. I felt the way Crawford felt. What people ask me, Teddy, when did you know? When were you were so sure he was going to win this fight? You were saying it, you know, a year ago or more. When did you know that he was going to win this fight? That there was no one else? You said nobody can win this fight. Only one guy, and he's going to win it convincingly, easily. When did you know that? And I'm gonna say what I really mean, but also what I understand Crawford said. But I said it myself before. I knew when he signed the contract. when he signed the contract, I knew that Canelo was making a mistake. That he had no idea, like he didn't have an idea what Beaver was. He had no idea. And unfortunately, the judges did the same thing they did in the Beaver fight. They scared the crap out of us. They made us realize they were going to rob him if he didn't destroy him, if he didn't dominate. Dominate! I mean, are you kidding me? He dominated!
That insight revealed the hunger behind Crawford's display. He wasn't only fighting Canelo. He was proving every critic wrong. The pressure of moving up in weight became his weapon, not his weakness. What many thought would break him instead sharpened him into something unstoppable. On fight night, that fire left the judges with no excuse to deny him. Garcia continued and turned his focus to Canelo's side, discussing the business and preparation before the fight. His words hinted at cracks in their strategy that may have left the door wide open for Crawford.
Be nice, and I'm gonna give Canelo 2 rounds. 2 rounds! And I'm being nice. I'm not being a wise guy. I'm being honest. I'm being a professional. He won maybe. And if you want to make it a shutout, I wouldn't say you were crazy. Because I don't think I'm crazy. Just a little bit angry sometimes. Because of my sport that I love. That if he doesn't dominate the way he did, they're gonna give it to Canelo. The way that one judge tried to make it a close fight against Mayweather many years ago? Are you kidding? The way the Beaver people... In the Beaver fight, I thought Beaver won 10 rounds. They tried to do the same thing. 115, 113? Are you kidding me? Maybe they just don't understand math. Maybe they think that maybe they think that I want to give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they think 115 is 119. Maybe, you know, it's different kinds of, you know, numeral. The way they came up with the numerals with the math. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I don't.
This perspective gave another layer to the story. Canelo may have been disciplined, but discipline without the right plan was never enough. It showed how much was riding on politics, money, and reputation, things outside the ropes. Yet, even with all that weight behind Canelo, Crawford tore the script apart. Teddy Atlas didn't hold back when speaking on Crawford versus Canelo. From the moment the fight was signed, he already knew how dangerous the matchup would be.
Stephen A. Smith, I did a segment with him. A lot of people saw it the day before. And, you know, I said, I like Crawford like I said, when his contract was signed, when it was, and then he was a bigger favorite. He was a big underdog. He was a bigger underdog. He was 2-1 at one point, if I remember correctly.
And it closed that closer to plus 135, plus 140.
Yeah. Once people knew who I was picking. I'm kidding. But I was telling Stephen A. Smith, he said, Teddy, why do you like him so much? I said, why do you like 3D TV more than regular TV? Because it's 3D! Because it's got more dimensions to it. Why do you like digital better than Betamax? I still use Betamax. I gotta tell you. I still got a fax machine, Rich. I do. I got a fax machine. I'm old fashioned. What are you gonna do? But you remember VHS, VHR, whatever it's called, right? All that stuff. Betamax, and then it went to digital. I was the last guy at ESPN, the whole campus, that still got sent VCR tapes. They had to send them to me. I had a cassette player. I put them in. I didn't know how to do digital, but digital is the way to go, babe. It's the way of the future. It's faster. It's quicker, right? You got all the stuff in the air, going through the air. That's Crawford.
Atlas's frustration cut deep, not at the fighters, but at the sport itself. He reminded fans how fragile victories become when judges twist numbers on scorecards. To him, this wasn't only about winning. It was about exposing a system that had robbed fighters before. Crawford had to dominate every moment to protect what was his. And in Atlas's eyes, that's what he did. It was proof the only way to beat corruption was with unquestionable greatness. Before the fight, Atlas had already told Stephen A. Smith why he believed Crawford was different. To him, Bud wasn't just another fighter, he was built on another level.
I said, Canelo's a nice, solid guy. He went nuts. Solid! Look, Teddy, he's Canelo. I said, he's a solid guy. His technique, his basics are solid. His fundamentals are solid. He's strong, he's physical, he's moved up and become, solid at a heavier weight than when he started in his career. He's grown into, he's got great experience. All of that. He's a good, solid guy. I'm not knocking him. In the old days, that was the greatest compliment that the people in my business could give you. Guy's a solid guy, can fit in with anyone. He knows how to fight. He's a solid guy. But he's not digital. There's only a few guys that...
His explanation portrayed Crawford as something rare in today's boxing. Where others were predictable, Crawford brought layers, depth, and angles that left opponents lost. Atlas made it clear this wasn't a gamble, it was certainty. He saw in Crawford qualities judges couldn't deny no matter how hard they tried. That faith wasn't blind hype. It was the eye of a trainer who's seen champions rise and fall. To Atlas, Crawford wasn't only a contender. He was the future unfolding in real time. He even compared Canelo and Crawford. Atlas kept it fair yet firm, giving Canelo his respect while highlighting the key difference.
Let's see. I figured that at first I was thinking, it's gonna take, a while for that fight to develop in a later round. And if Terence can take them shots, he'll be able to, pretty much outwork and move and be able to, hit him with some counter shots. And pretty much that's what it was. At first I didn't know if he was be able to take the heavier shots, but then I realized, Canelo, yeah, he's a big guy, but he's not really a big guy when it comes to somebody like a Terence who's has reach, has length, in that aspect, and that could put on the size, and also can box. And he did a great job. When you watched it, he did a great job. He kept with a great strategy, staying outside.
His words carried the balance of a man who recognizes greatness. Canelo was strong, skilled, and experienced, but there was a ceiling to his style. Crawford, however, was operating on a digital level, while others remained stuck in analog. That gap meant one thing: no matter what judges thought, Crawford had separated himself completely. And that separation made robbery attempts powerless. It was the kind of gap that transforms a great fighter into an untouchable legend. Demetrius Andrade later gave his take on how the fight unfolded, admitting his first impression shifted as the rounds continued. What he noticed revealed why Crawford was able to take control in a way few expected.
Kept with a great strategy, staying outside, using his reach, moving when he needed to move, and those moments where he needed to make them count, he made them count because he was able to, because the southpaw, the combinations when he had the chance to let them things go, he did that. He held his ground. He showed that he can get underneath, clinch, hold, and show that he also has the will and power to, keep his ground. So man, he did a great job fighting Canelo.
His reflection captured the surprise many felt while watching live. At first, the size and power appeared to favor Canelo, but Crawford's reach and skill reversed the script. Andrade's words showed how quickly the tide shifted once Bud proved he could handle the pressure. What began as doubt ended in admiration, and in that shift, the robbery story turned into undeniable dominance. Andrade also praised the strategy Crawford carried into the ring. He noted the balance of patience, timing, and grit that defined Bud's approach from beginning to end.
I'm not saying, I don't think Canelo's the hardest hitting puncher out there. My damn self, like at the end of the day, yeah, everybody can, knock somebody down or, get knockouts, but we haven't seen Canelo really put people out consistently like a Triple G, you know what I'm saying? Or like a Dimitri Beterbiev, like it ain't that type of situation. But I wasn't. He probably did. He probably did fight somebody that hits a little harder.
His breakdown revealed why Crawford looked untouchable against boxing's biggest star. It wasn't reckless offense, it was smart control mixed with bursts of fire at the right moments. Andrade saw how Crawford held his ground, combined defense with aggression, and forced Canelo out of his comfort zone. It was the type of performance that left no excuses on the scorecards, reminding everyone greatness is built on both skill and will. Andrade also addressed Canelo's power, questioning whether it was ever as dangerous as people believed. His view added another layer to the conversation.
It was like we had watched a fight before it happened.
Absolutely.
Because that's the way it went.
In the presence of genius, you don't even know it.
Absolutely. We actually called it. We said, look, listen, that Terence Crawford would build up an early lead, and when he had to bite down, when he had to do it, that ninth round especially, he stood there and showed that he could trade with him and he could take the shots and he could mix it. And the difference between the two was, like we said, Duke, was the combination punching, the ring control from Terence Crawford. They were all the question marks. Could he do that? Could he cope with the power of Canelo Alvarez, who's adapted now and had to adjust in his career? He now throws single shots, and that's why it was the calculated gamble. Well, it wasn't really a gamble because me and Simon called it from the beginning. That we go, Mayweather ticks every department. You go, the only thing that people are hedging their bets on is that Canelo's the bigger guy, but he wasn't really anyway. No. You can see, because Crawford come down from 185 anyway, you can see the physicality's in there. He was all the size of...
By downplaying Canelo's punching threat, Andrade shifted focus back to Crawford's composure. If the supposed danger wasn't real, then what kept the fight close on the cards? His words hinted at the truth fans feared. It wasn't Canelo's fists, but the judges posing the biggest risk. In that light, Crawford's dominance looked even greater. What Andrade observed confirmed the system couldn't save Canelo this time. Spencer Oliver shared his perspective, making it clear the fight's outcome was no surprise to him. He explained how the match unfolded nearly exactly as predicted.
Edward said long before this fight, I just think styles make fights, and Canelo's style, this style of Canelo, was suited for Crawford. He can't throw combinations anymore. There's no more head movement from Canelo. Yeah. He tries to walk people down and hit you all over the body and all over the head if he can, but he can't put his combination. He can't sustain the combinations. And what really impressed me about Crawford was the fact that it was a question of he didn't want to trade off early with Canelo. He traded late with Canelo because he couldn't take his power early. So in the earlier rounds, he was just pity-patting and just tapping him, kept spinning him, kept turning him and driving him mad. And then in the later rounds, as Canelo started to fade, from round 7, round 8, as the pace got a little bit slower, then Crawford's confidence, he was confident enough within himself to stand and trade with him. And even when he got on his side, he was hitting him with like 3s and 4s, hard shots, constant shots. He just kept spinning him, kept turning him, and Canelo didn't really know where he was. And another great thing about Crawford, stayed southpaw throughout the whole fight, and Canelo admitted after that he couldn't handle a south.
Couldn't work it out
whatsoever.
His words carried the weight of someone who recognized Crawford's greatness long before the first bell. Every doubt about size, power, or control was answered in real time, just as he expected. What stood out most was Crawford's ability to silence the biggest questions with skill and composure. It showed this wasn't luck or chance, it was mastery on display. For Oliver, it proved Canelo's supposed advantages were never enough to change the result. Duke McKenzie broke it down with a sharp eye, focusing on how Canelo's style worked right into Crawford's hands. He explained why the matchup always favored Bud if he stayed disciplined.
However, Canelo is a legend. I, like you two, thought Crawford would win the fight, and I thought it would be as comfortable as that. I just worried about the Vegas judges, and they were a little bit tight. I thought it was a dominant performance.
Did you see the AI scoring, by the way? They scored it a draw.
Unbelievable. I mean, that is just preposterous, ridiculous. So, was it a great fight? I mean, it was a great occasion. Yeah. It was a magnificent 12 rounds, but as a great fight, no.
Never
was it a great performance? Yes. Terence Crawford did exactly what he needed to do. I knew within 30 seconds of the fight that he felt comfortable. It was all about whether he'd get into that rhythm, utilize that southpaw advantage. He has the IQ, the ring generalship, and Canelo is slightly on the slide, the William Skull performance, etc. See what Paulie's saying.
His analysis showed exactly how Crawford unraveled Canelo round after round. The patience in the early stages set the trap, forcing Canelo into frustration and mistakes. By the later rounds, the shift in control was undeniable. What seemed cautious early became total dominance as Crawford let combinations flow. For McKenzie, it was proof that style and strategy can expose even the biggest names. Adam Smith admitted he had always favored Crawford in this fight. His concern was never the matchup itself, it was the judges. His reaction showed how close boxing still comes to controversy.
All he's saying, but yeah, don't take anything away from Terence Crawford. This was his coming out party on Netflix, and people don't know Terence Crawford if you walk down the streets. They know a bit about Canelo, and they know obviously the Furies, the Joshuas, but this was his moment, and I always felt.
Were you surprised about his outburst in the press conference?
He pointed to the shocking AI scoring as proof of how narratives can be twisted in ways fans cannot believe. To him, this wasn't only a victory, it was Crawford seizing control despite every outside factor. The intelligence, the southpaw rhythm, and the composure told the real story. It was such a clear performance that even tight Vegas scorecards couldn't rewrite it. Smith left no doubt greatness had just been confirmed under the brightest lights. He then put Crawford's win into perspective, framing it not just as victory but as a moment introducing him to the wider world. His words reflected how big the night was for Bud's legacy.
For a long time, Crawford is without a shadow of doubt the best fighter I've ever seen live. When he fought Ricky Burns with me, the only grievance I've got with Crawford is I get sacked after the Crawford fight and lose his first fight. Ricky Burns is his first loss for me in 23 fights, so I wasn't too pleased. But Crawford is a fantastic fighter. Mate, both stances, his balance is fantastic. His shot selection, both stances, excellent. Just a class above. He's just a class above. I think he's one of the best. If not, and this might not go down well with a lot of people, I think it could be the best ever fighter ever.
For Smith, this wasn't only about boxing insiders, it was about mainstream recognition. Crawford had been overlooked too long, living in the shadow of bigger names and louder brands. But on this stage, streamed across millions of screens, he forced the spotlight his way. It felt less like just another fight and more like the night Crawford's name became global. In Smith's eyes, it marked the beginning of a new chapter for the sport itself. Billy Nelson, who has seen Crawford up close since the very start, gave one of the strongest praises of the night. His words carried the weight of someone who recognized Bud's greatness long before the world did.
It was special, it was a historical moment, historical fight. It's a fight, like I said before, we're going to do a lot of switching up, and we're gonna do a little bit of everything in there. We're gonna do a little bit of boxing. We're gonna do a little bit of banging, counter punching. You know, it's gonna go a lot of places in that ring, and that's, you know, one of the places that it end up in is in the middle of the ring.
Nelson's reflection was not just admiration but conviction from experience. He spoke of Crawford's balance, his mastery in both stances, and his ability to control every moment inside the ring. To him, Bud wasn't simply elite, he was operating on a level beyond most fighters in history. It was the kind of testimony that makes fans reconsider where Crawford belongs among the legends. Coming from a respected trainer, it landed harder than any punch thrown that night. Even the man who made his mark in the ring spoke with calm certainty, already knowing the outcome. Crawford had laid out exactly how the fight would unfold before the first bell rang. His vision wasn't only confidence, it was prophecy. He outlined the switches, the adjustments, and the willingness to meet Canelo anywhere in the ring. It showed a fighter not hoping to rise to the occasion but planning to control it from every angle. That mindset turned the pressure of history into fuel for dominance. And when the fight played out, it unfolded exactly as promised. Terence Crawford didn't just beat Canelo, he beat the system many thought would protect him. The judges tried to keep it close, but his performance was so dominant even controversy couldn't touch him. But what about you? Do you think the judges really tried to rob Crawford? Was this the night he proved he's the best fighter of this era? And where does this leave Canelo's legacy going forward? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and stay tuned for more videos, because the story of boxing is only getting more exciting. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Knockout Voyage for more amazing boxing content. Stay tuned for the next big fight.